I'm the fanfic critic. I read it, you listen. Well, you guys are probably wondering why Susan is sitting in with me for this review. Let's watch this flashback and find out. Another request, eh? Let's take a look. You may not want Susan to see the episode on this fanfic in case you review it. Huh. Why would I not want Susan to watch an episode of my show? Unless... Overlook feelings? That sounds innocent enough. Oh my God! What are you yelling about? Nothing! Nothing at all! Certainly doesn't sound like nothing. Is it a bad fanfic?
You can say that.
Can I take a look? No! No. I'll be fine. Just go back to your room. Ah! See what the bloody hell this thing is. What the bloody hell is this? What the hell? What the hell was that for? I do not want you reading that fanfic. Oh, you bloody... Don't! The subject matter for today's fanfic is Susan and I being lovers. How delightful. Would you like to add anything else? Just continue. Well, today's fanfic is called Overlook Feelings. It's by Master Maritsu. It's on DeviantArt and it has 5 comments. Has anyone favorited it? Favorited isn't a word. Yes, someone has added it to their favorites. I see. Okay, how are we going to do this thing? Do you want to take turns reading, or are you just going to sit there and glare all day? Well, seeing I am here, we might as well take turns. You can start FFC. Why are you acting all pissed at me? It's not like I wrote this thing. It doesn't matter if you wrote it or not, dearie. You have become well known enough where Looney Tunes like this bloke have started to write fanfics about you. First, it was with that Sparky person, and now this. What's worse, I seem to show up in every single fanfic about you, and in this one, I'm the bloody love interest. So, yes, I blame you entirely for the creation of this thing. But, just continue. Fine. Overlook Feelings. A fanfic about a mini-series by the FanFic Critic, the ending to her mini-series by Master Maritsu. Note, FFC equals FanFic Critic. What does this guy mean by mini-series? I have no idea. Love can be many things, folks. It can be family, close friends, and significant others. Love can sometimes either easy or hard to spot in people. Love is the best feeling anyone can have. Love has no specific sex, so a man shall date a man if he thinks that is the right person for him. The same goes for a woman. What is love to you? The confession the FFC gave Susan was very heartfelt. So many emotions ran wild in both of them. For the FFC it was fear, death, and forgiveness. For Susan it was indifferent, pain, revenge, and love. I guess this story takes place when I confronted you about my dear so. But how would the author know of this? I have no idea. Just continue. What? Susan spoke to herself inside her head. Why do I have this feeling of love? Where is this feeling coming from? She looks down at the knife she was holding. My plan was to scare her with this. Why do I want to put it down? Susan heavily sighs in front of the FFC. Actually, my intention wasn't to scare you at all. Well, maybe at first. But when you told me everything, I gave you the razor back to show that I had forgiven you. I didn't feel indifferent or angry after I learned the truth, in all honesty. I see. Moving forward. Susan, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Hey, listen. What do you think about same-sex relationships? Susan said nervously. The room lost all air when Susan dropped that question. The FSC took a step breathing. Well, that came out of nowhere. Why would anyone bring up a question like that? Also, is this still taking place after I confronted you? I'm not sure. Let's continue. Susan, I think everyone has a right to love who they choose to be with, said a shell-shocked FFC. Susan stood up and looked deeply into the FFC's eyes. She thought the FFC had cute eyes. Oh, yes, like, these eyes are cute. Ha! Oh, well, that's good to know. So, what would you do if you found out a girl loves you? The FFC was shocked by the question and collapsed to the floor in a sitting position. What the hell is wrong with Susan? This is unlike her. I need space. The FFC said inside her head. Yes, what is wrong with me? You all right? Here. Susan extended her hand. I'm fine. The FFC said as she quickly got up from the ground. Look, I just remembered I had to do something very important. I need you to leave. Now. Susan hangs her head in disappointment. Okay, see you later. She leaves the FFC's room. When she left, the FFC lay down on the bed. I need to get some sleep, she said to herself. She closed her eyes and tried to drift off into the world of dreams. Oh, wonderful. A dream sequence. FFC's dream. The FFC woke up slowly, rubbing her head. Man, why does my head hurt so much? She had a pounding headache. The FFC sat up on her bed. Susan walked into the room smiling. She was wearing a beautiful white nightgown. Oh, for the love of Christ. Susan. The FFC said woozily. Susan didn't care that the FFC noticed her. She kept walking until she stood over her roommate. Please tell me this isn't going where I think it's going. Also, is FFC lying on the floor or does Susan have very long legs? I don't know. It needs to be rewritten apparently. My sweet little Meg. She gazed deeply into her eyes. The soft but beautiful gaze froze the FFC still. She couldn't say a word. Her knowledge of the English language was gone. Susan rubs her right cheek and climbed on top of her. If Susan starts to remove FFC's clothing, I will have to gouge my eyes out. And I will have to kill myself. You will do no such thing! It was a figure of speech. Like what you said was a figure of speech. You wouldn't really gouge your eyes out. Well, with how you've been in the past, I can't tell if you're joking or not about killing yourself. Fair enough. Let's continue. Susan. The FFC's voice came back softly. Susan put her right index finger on the lips of the FFC. Oh, God. Just relax. I'll take care of everything else. We fade back into darkness. Oh, good. It appears that the sex scene won't be shown. This is still near the beginning of the story, though. So, there's a good chance of one popping up, unfortunately. Thank you for pointing that out! FFC's room. Morning. The FFC woke up in a cold sweat, breathing heavily. Meg, I made breakfast. You're going to be late for work, so you better hurry up and get down here before the food gets cold. It was Susan. The FFC found it strange for her to be cooking of all things. When it came to food or cooking, it was either done by her or they ordered takeout. She got out of bed quickly. My dream? What was it about? Susan and I never had that type of relationship before. Meg, the FFC went to do her usual morning routine. Okay, why did the author refer to your character as Meg? To be funny, I suppose. Let's continue. A few minutes, we see the FFC walking downstairs in her work uniform. Okay, this must take place long after you confronted me, seeing our characters seem to be living in our new home and not in my parents' house. Nice use of transitions, buddy! Good morning. She got down to the ground level and made her way to the kitchen. Who exactly is she saying good morning to? The ground? Beats me. Good morning, Susan said back. She was finishing up the scrambled eggs. Are you hungry? I made some eggs, bacon, and pancakes. Susan was wearing her normal white t-shirt and blue jeans. The only difference was that she was wearing an apron. You? In an apron? Ha! And what does the author imply? That I wear the same clothes every day? Anyway. I'm late. I have to go. The FFC was eyeing the door when she said that. Susan ignored her weak excuse and made her a plate and sat down at the table. Sit, Susan commanded. What? Is FFC a dog? Look, Susan, I have to. Susan gave her a strong glare. I took the liberty to tell your manager you weren't going to be in today. Now sit and enjoy your breakfast. The FFC was not only shocked by what Susan said, but how commanding she was than usual. So now Susan is like FFC's mother? How lovely. Well, at least they got that part right. Ha! 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 She took a seat and enjoyed her breakfast. She thought it was best not to press Susan on the issue about calling in for her, but she had many questions. After the meal, Susan took their dishes and put them in the sink. So, why did you call in for me? The FFC said. Oh, I just wanted to spend time with you. You know, it seems all you ever do now is review fanfics, freak out, attempt to kill yourself, and etc. I think you need a break from your main hobby and develop other hobbies. The reviewing fanfic jig is starting to rack up the hospital bills. Susan finished washing the breakfast dishes and threw the dish rag into the sink. She made herself some green tea and took a seat across from the FFC. This does bring up a true fact regarding your hospital visits. I've been good about that lately. Still, I worry about you. I will live. Right, carry on. I never saw it that way. Hey, I had a very strange dream last night. The FFC adjusted her head upward to the ceiling. Change of subject much? You had a dream. What was it about? Susan sips her green tea slowly and quietly. Well, how do I explain it? I was in my room waking up. I had a painful headache, so I started to rub my head to make the pain go away. You were there. You walked into my room. You had on a lovely white nightgown. The next thing I remember was you calling me Meg. After that, you climb on top of me. I was about to say something, but you put your finger over my lip and told me to just relax. I'll take care of everything else. After you said that, everything just went black. That's all I remember. I found it somewhat frightening, but deep down I kind of liked it a little. The FFC readjusted her head back to normal level. Seriously? Are you seriously implying to me that FFC would tell Susan about the sexually hinted dream she had about her? I don't think so. Susan was blushing heavily. She wisely hid behind her giant green cup. Well, that was a very interesting dream. I don't know how that came up, though. Susan took another sip of her green tea. Well, that was very unrealistic. Okay, thanks for listening. The FFC stood up from her seat and stretched her arms out. I'm going to take these clothes off and play some Mario on my DS. I might have needed this day off instead. Thanks a lot, Susan. The FFC was about to walk off and head back to her room. What? That made no sense. Don't they mean after all? I think that's what they meant. Let's continue. Wait, shouted Susan. I ordered this new anime. It's called Strawberry Panic. I got the whole series. It's only 26 episodes long. I don't want to watch it alone. The FFC stopped in her tracks and turned around. Is it good? She asked. I saw only the first few episodes. From what I saw in those episodes, I think it's a very good anime, Susan answered. Time stopped for a moment. It wasn't usual feelings that caused it. It was something that couldn't be described. Okay. Sure. I bet it's better than Chibi-Usa's 7th birthday and Secret Romance that they were ever able to combine. They both got a good laugh for a good minute. If those two stories ever merged, the world would cease to exist. Agreed. Okay, I'll go set up everything and make us some snacks. You go change. The FFC nodded and headed upstairs. FFC's living room, noon. Everything was set. Susan had the first disc of Strawberry Panic in. She had many snacks ranging from candy, chips, pizza, and other types of junk food. Okay, you ready? Susan picks up the remote. Yeah, I can't wait for this anime. It's kind of funny that I'm reading your lines and you're reading mine. Yeah, I just noticed that. After that quick exchange between them, they got comfortable in their seats and enjoyed Strawberry Panic. The first few episodes were slow at first. There was some decent humor and etc. But the part that really drew in both Susan and the FFC was the romance between Shizuma and Nagisa. These parts of the anime made Susan very nervous. She wanted to admit her love to the FFC. The only problem was that she didn't know how the FFC would react. They were into the 12th episode of Strawberry Panic. The FFC and Susan were watching a scene where Shizuma makes her move on Nagisa. Oh boy. Hey Susan, the FFC said with a mouth full of Cheetos.
Thanks, Arthur. Thanks for making me come across as a pig. Thank you very much.
Moving forward. What? I am trying to watch this scene. Susan responded rudely. Okay. Why would FFC bring this up in the middle of the show? It would make more sense if she asked this when they finished watching the show. Who's your favorite character? The FFC asked. Oh, I like Shizuma. I think she's really cool. Susan paused the episode they were watching. Hey, why did you stop it? It was getting good. The FFC complained to Susan. Okay, so FFC had no problem with talking over the show, but she flips out when Susan pauses it. Look, there's something I want to tell you. Susan looked deeply into the FFC's eyes and grabbed her hand. Oh, wonderful. What is it, Susan? The FFC was shocked when Susan took her hand. Susan sighed heavily before talking. Her eyes were still locked onto the FFC. I love you, she said softly. So I guess Susan in FFC turned into Porky Pig. What? The FFC screamed and broke away from Susan's hand. I love you. I was expecting this reaction, Susan said once again.
Well, if you're expecting this reaction, then why did you ask it in the first place?
Are you fucking insane? You know I don't fly that way. The FFC screamed at her. Well, at least FFC seems to be more realistic acting character in this bit. Will you relax? Susan grabbed her hands again. They were still down. Susan, you know you can't because we are. The FFC was about to finish her sentence but was cut off by the soft touch of Susan. Do I want to know where she's touching her?
I do not want to know.
You have to relax, Meg, Susan said softly. The FFC's stomach did a mental backflip. In her dream, she couldn't resist the touch of Susan. The same was here. She wanted to smack her, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. Susan cups her right cheeks and pulls her closer to her. Susan, the FFC couldn't finish her sentence once again, as she was quite hit by the left index finger of Susan. Enough talk. I want to show you my love. She presses her lips softly onto the FFC. This wasn't a French kiss or anything, folks. It was a simple but sweet kiss Susan gave the FFC. The FFC didn't struggle at all. Her arms fell limp to her side. The kiss only lasted a good 30 seconds until Susan broke away slowly. Stay here. I have to go get something. It's important. Susan got up from the couch they were sitting at and headed upstairs to get this important item. Oh, please don't tell me she's going to propose to her. A few minutes later, she comes back down with a small black box. The FFC's 2020 vision notices the small black box. What is that? She said to Susan. Susan ignored her question and slowly walked up to her and got on one knee. She wouldn't. I know this is quite fast, but will you marry me? Susan said in a very soft voice. The FFC slapped her in the face. Susan was sent to the floor. No! The FFC screamed at her. Susan was still on the floor rubbing her cheek. It's a Pokemon ring I wanted to give you as a gift. Do you still love me? Susan said while smiling widely to her new lover. The FFC walked over to her body, what did she do, die, and laid on top of her and says, Of course I still love you, silly. You released feelings I've never felt before. The FFC returned the kiss that Susan gave her, feelings that were not hidden have become known for the world to see. They lived a happy life as lesbian lovers. Love has no gender. Love is for everyone. What? Well, what just happened there? One moment, FFC's like, no, Slock. And the next minute, she's all lovey-dovey. What the bleeding hand? Well, it's over. You can start.
Where do I begin with
Okay. I have a question for you, Master Marisu, whatever your name is. Why? Just why? Why the hell did you write this? Why? Why? Why?
Do you have like a fetish for lookalikes who...
Yeah, wait. Let me bring up a point before I go into my rant. Take a good look at us. See, we look exactly alike. People have mistaken us for twins. And you pretty much wrote a story about these two girls who look exactly alike falling in love with each other. How would that work? How would you fall in love with someone who looks exactly like you? How would that work? How would you be attracted to someone who looks exactly like you? That doesn't make any sense at all. Secondly, Susan and I, we are related to each other. We are third cousins. I mean, it's not like we're closely related, but still, this story is incest. It's incest. I know you didn't actually have a sex scene, but something tells me that eventually it's going to happen, seeing they're going to, gee, I don't know, get married? But it's incest, and it's gross, and it's gross. And another thing I need to bring up, I do not feel that way for her. I do not. She's a friend. She's a friend of mine. I do not have those thoughts about her. That's just, that's just gross. And just wrong and weird and just, Ew. What the hell were you thinking when you wrote this? Why did you write this? Why? I mean, did you honestly think that I would not find it? I am the fanfic critic. I was going to find this eventually, so you must have known that I was going to find this. And if you didn't think I was going to find it, well, then you're not that bright. Okay, let's talk about other issues with this
Lovely little story.
It was weird. I mean, how it jumped all over the place. It just... When exactly was it supposed to take place? Was it supposed to take place when she confronted me? And if so, how the heck would you know about that? What the hell is this miniseries you keep on referencing to? What is it? Please verify with me. Please. If, however, you ignore the fact that Susan and I are the main characters in this story, if you ignore that fact, this would actually be a pretty decent and cute love story. But the fact that it's me and her just makes it weird. It just makes it weird. I mean, it was well written, but it was just weird. And it's just gross because it's me and her. Eck! Okay, we're going to try to ignore that. I mean, for things you need to fix, first of all, do not keep on switching between past tense and present tense. Thank you very much. That makes it very confusing. Stick with one. Secondly, what was with the ending? The ending was just weird. A Pokemon ring, so Susan goes to propose to me, she gives me a Pokemon ring? Yes, I love Pokemon, but I don't love it that much. Seriously. And what was with the bipolarness with my character? She proposes and I say no, and then after she says it's a Pokemon ring, I'm like, oh yes, sure. I mean, what the hell was with that? What the hell was with that? This story was just, It had the potential of being a good story if you take out us, first of all, and if you did not switch between tenses constantly. But overall, though, this story was just... ugh. Okay, now that I've said my thoughts, how about you? How can I say this without repeating everything the FanFic Critic said? Okay, okay. You say the beginning of the story brought up a interesting point about, you know, love. You can love friends, you can love family, and then you can love someone in a sexual and intimate way. Okay, the thing about myself and the FanFic Critic, we do love each other, but like family. You know, like I see her as a sister. Let's put it that way. I see her like a sister, and most people do not want to shag their siblings. Unless you're from that Angel Sanctuary manga. But most people are not from that manga, and in most cases, you do not want to shag your siblings. I just don't understand why you would write something like this. It's wrong. It really is wrong. Especially seeing we do not feel that way for each other in real life. We just don't. We don't. And one more thing, we don't. Aside from that fact, the story had other little things about it that didn't make any sense. The transitions could have been used a lot better than they were. And when exactly was this supposed to take place? Was it supposed to take place directly after I confronted her? Or was it supposed to be that time passed? And if time passed, you should have been more specific. Or if the whole thing about me confronting her was supposed to be a flashback, you should have implied that it was a flashback. Like, have it be that the entire scenario was replaying in my head. And, you know, you shouldn't just assume what we were feeling during that time period. You honestly thought I wanted to get revenge on her? No. I'd forgiven her. When she told me the truth, I'd forgiven her, you know? I wasn't going to get revenge on her. That's not who I am. I wouldn't do that. And I'm still trying to figure out how the hell you would know about that in the first place. What do? Have a secret hidden camera set up, spying on us, and that's why you wrote this fanfic? Do you, like, have a fascination with us or something? Do you have a crush on us and you just want to see us as a couple, or did you just write it to try to piss us off? Either way, it was just wrong. I mean, the story itself, it was, if you ignore the fact that you had us in it, it was a cute story. So maybe you could just remove us from it and just insert other characters and then repost it. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but you're probably not going to do that. But in the future, I don't know. It was, the story, it shouldn't have been written. It's wrong. You shouldn't have written it. It's just, I just can't believe you would write something like this. I really can't. I mean, I suppose it could have been a lot worse, but still. And I hope to God you're not writing a sequel. Oh, for the love of Christ. And trust me, we will know if you do, seeing she is the fanfic critic after all. Yes. That sums everything up for me. Well, I'm the fanfic critic. She's Susan. I read it, you listen. She makes sure I don't kill myself, and we're probably both gonna go and have a drink after reading this. See you all later. Well, I think one or two of these will help erase our memories of that delightful fanfic that we read. Wouldn't you agree, Susan? Well, I suppose this will, do the trick in a sense. Although, to be perfectly honest with you, I've never had shots before. Yeah, I've never had this stuff either. Oh well. To forgetting that fanfic. Okay, to forgetting that fanfic.
10 shots later.
Imagine! Oh, if they ever did write a... Oh, excuse me. If they ever did write a sequel, what would happen in it? Oh, you see, if they were to write a sequel to that smashing story about me and you being gay lovers, I think they will make one of us pregnant with the other one's child. They'd make us pregnant? But how would that work at all? Neither of us have penises. I got a vagina, you got a vagina. Unless you have something you want to tell me. It would work. If they could do it in secret romance, they can do it with us. Neither of us have to have penises or vaginas. If two men with penises can get each other pregnant, then who says two women can't get each other pregnant either? It's the world of fanfiction. Fanfiction, ha. Oh, yeah, it'll be like secret romance. I have to wonder, though, who's the man in the relationship? Well, what relationship? That doesn't make any sense. We're not a couple. That's but in fanfic universe, who's the man, huh? Ooh. Well, seeing you wear a suit, you would be the man in the relationship. Me? What? Just because I dress in a suit? That's stupid. You know, in the fanfic, you were proposing to me and everything, so you want to know something? You'd be the man in the relationship, not me. I'm the woman. Because in the fanfic I was coming across as a lady. And you were all like proposing and stuff. Yes, exactly. In the fanfic I was all like, oh, FanFic Critic, I love you so much. I just want to be with you forever and ever and ever. May I please have my hand back? Oh, sorry. Here, you can have your hand back. Thank you. I kind of need it. Hey, Susan, do you want another shot? Oh, you're gonna go? Okay, let me get some. Are you all right down there?
I'm okay. I just want to lie on the floor because it's comfortable.
Oh, the floor sounds very comfortable. I think I'll go on the floor too. Oh! I think I broke my back. Oh, the floor's so delightful. Look at all the shapes you got. A rectangle, a bigger rectangle, another rectangle, and that
I know, there's so many
circle in
shapes.
the center. You know, it kind of looks like that robot from, what is it? You're talking about Lost in Space. Oh, yes. Lost in Space. Wait, wasn't that Pigs from Space from the Muppet Show? Or did they say Lost in Space too? I don't know.
Maybe it is
I'm all
Pigs in Space.
confused. Or maybe it was like a spoof of the two. Pigs in Space, Lost in Space, and then there was that god-awful movie they made with Mr. I don't know how to show emotion in my performances.
Man, he sucked.
I love you, wife. Well, I could lie here all day. Oh, I know, it's so very comfortable. I could lie here all day, too. You know what? We should move our bedroom down here, and then we could just lie here instead of using the floor.
The following morning.
How many did we have? I believe we had 10. Maybe it was 10. Whatever it was, it didn't work. Because I still remember that stupid fanfic. Oh my head. Will you keep your bleeding voice down? You know, I have a splitting headache and you yelling is not helping things at all. How do you think I feel? I have a splitting headache too. Remind me never to drink again. How did we end up in the living room? You're right. How did we end up down here? I thought we passed out in the kitchen. Hold.